Seagull, just me, Christian Herod is here, Graham Shaw, Harris Chalk, Andy Rack, Seabear, Liz is here, Looking for Flames, Blair Scutton, Blair, if this has gone out yet, I'll mention that later. Your package arrived today. A Brit is here. DCR Landscape, please. It is indeed Landscape. Because every time I'm having to remember to actually set it from vertical by default to landscape, that's quite an annoying quack. We're going out. So just in case that bit got missed before, Blair, your package arrived today, thank you, with the light in it. Much appreciated. So let's start off with sterilisation. Sterilisation is needed because I've been so ill last week. I've just been really under the weather. Scanning. That's why there's not been much content for a brief period of time. On a plus note, I have buried myself in making a new script and printing lots of prototypes. That script is in the description of this video down below. You can have a play with it if you wish. Just let me pour out some ethanol. That could be quite good, Peter Grant, for medicinal purposes. I shall have some ethanol. To everybody who works at the local supermarket, because it's just been taken over by Tesco. To everybody at the local ShopRite. ShopRite, there's two of them. So, hello, automated checkouts, and well, hopefully they'll treat the staff okay, the ones that are keeping on. Huge big corporate. What to do, Clive Craig Matthews? It creates the globes, but it's now tuned up to create just every globe. This thing, it'll create a wide range of shapes. It's tunable further, but it's pretty good so far. To everyone in the local shop, indeed. Had a new person that started work this week caught their cold. Mrs. Cam, don't hold that against them, though. They probably didn't want to come in because they were ill, but had to. Apparently, one of our New Jersey branches at work got completely overall by CV19. I'm wondering, I don't know what the current variant of COVID, the symptoms are like, but the lungs were just like full of phlegm. It was like unpleasant, very disrupted sleep. Couldn't sleep much at all over the past week. Slept well last night. Overrun by a forklift. You don't want to get overrun by a forklift. They're very heavy. But yes. So I'm not really sure what that was last week. Bonsoir, nuts and proud. The script it's turned out nice though, very useful. I've fine-tuned it. It's using more suitable code. I shall show you it later on. Had my COVID booster this afternoon, no ill effects, Dom, right? I've not had one since, I only had one booster and that was it. Not sure what it was. May have been COVID, might not have been. It didn't come up in the COVID test. Because I tried it earlier on, that was it. That's assuming the bits I used were compatible because somebody gave me his test, but he'd opened them all. Ralphie. The conspiracist. So goodness knows if he'd mixed all the bits up. Ravenley, I just turned up at my place, got my vaccine early because I'm terrified to catch it when I go to Glasgow on Saturday. That's a good move to do that because you just never know. Particularly in a busy public place like Glasgow with densely packed transport. Was he testing the dead people? Who knows? Tests Ralphie, indeed, yes. Not sure what he's doing. And he'd stuck his logo in the box after he decanted everything. I'm not sure what he's doing. I think he's just being an arsehole, but nothing new there. That's brothers for you. Anything new arrived? Some meters have arrived. Some digital meters for reverse engineering, mains voltage ones. We'll take a look at them, the different types. Chipmunk having horrific problems. Maybe it's just a software glitch that they'll fix out. Can you put a section of 3D printing scripts to the website? I could do that, Dave Amsterdam. Maybe I'm just better actually putting them all in Thingiverse. Well, the Thingiverse is very wooden these days. It's a bit bumpy. Fluffs the cat has heard your voice and shot into the room. Aha, Mrs. Cam. YouTube just crashed, Chipmunk. Oh, talking of which, make sure you're live. Look for the little red dot down below in the progress bar. Boop! Just to make sure that we're not along. Sort of that direction. Windows not safe or useful any other way. I keep my Windows system isolated from my my Google account. I just don't trust Windows at all. Maybe I'm wrong doing that, but it's just, it's such a bloated big thing. Megavoltmeister's cat is apparently a shoulder muff. That's good, keeping them warm. The Woofler 3D print files indeed, and that Scruffdog's version of the Woofler. But Google does too, yes, but it's not as insecure as the Microsoft software. Though having said that, I say that. I've seen the way Google keeps things secure, but nothing's guaranteed, is it? Trust Chrome to save your passwords? No. Nothing saves my passwords. They're all documented in a cryptic manner. And they don't, they're not online or in any of the computer systems. Not trusting Windows is a perfectly good policy. It is, Rifleman. Windows is a training ground for hackers. It is, Pieman. It's just got so many places to explore. It's Urbex in an operating system. Christian Howard, I trust Google to build good infra indeed. I attended a Google conference thing in Douglas here, and it was interesting the way they described how everything is kept separate in containers, so to speak, like a container base, where everything is in separate blocks and it's hard to spread data between them. What doesn't span you? Indeed, Kevin Harsey, what doesn't? Indeed. But quite interesting. Mire a scrap paper onto PlayStation, yeah, don't leave them in too obvious places. If you did break into someone's house and you saw their passwords, you'd take a picture, but you'd leave them where they were, because if you took them, they would then go and change them all. Criminal mastermind. I like MF's idea of undersea data centers. Not sure I'm keen on that idea, Chipmunk, because salty water will get in at some point. They're just doing it offshore to save expensive place, and they've got bountiful cooling, which is a good idea, but it just seems an odd idea. Floating like a boat that you can access in the top, but not if you have to dive and open portholes and things to get into data centers. It just sounds like salty water hell, if you ask me, but I'm sure they've worked that out. Better use the heat for something useful. Yes, that would make more sense. Bountiful quantities of heat the neighborhood free, except how would you just expect it? George has had a gastroscopy and colonoscopy today, feeling delicate, but good news is no cancer. That is very good. Good news that there is no cancer. It's something you're supposed to get done. I've only had one endoscopy. It was really exciting. Not really something I look forward to again. It's very intrusive, like anally intrusive, quite frankly. The worst bit was losing control of your bowels when you take their huge mega laxative. DC Allen, I don't have what the password is for and over 40 lines of random digits, but that's it. Having the name of like PayPal and then the password is not a good idea. Airlocks and wetsuits and underwater techno oasis sounds fantastic to me, not when it's going wrong. Chris Wenham. Megavoltmeister, I had to get the colonoscopy and the endoscopy. I told the doctor I hope he did the endoscopy first before the colonoscopy, indeed. Or both at once. I'm not going to say the word that came to mind there. I said it. Passwords are saving a password protected file in a password protect folder on an encrypted drive which has been hidden. Nobody's getting my passwords. You think, Craig Matthews, but they're also losable. Chipmunk, my password is pseudo-random characters plus an insult describing the site. Yeah, but most people would be able to work that out, probably the insult. I had a surgeon put an endoscope up my nose, then a student had to go. That would have been, I've had an endoscope up the nose, and it wasn't pleasant, nuts and proud. They were looking to see why the throat was swollen. It turned out the reason it was swollen is because I'd recently started drinking Starbucks and got addicted to the caffeine and went in regularly for a strong Starbucks, and it caused the throat to swell up. Stopped drinking Starbucks, everything returned to normal. Not sure if they put extra caffeine in their coffee. That's why I have multiple copies of Drive. Aha. Yawns because it's been a sleepless week, but I did sleep okay last night with dreams and everything. It was great. Tarbucks. It was the tar. It could well have been the tar, Daniel. Chris says, a nasal endoscopy was my worst medical experience. He said it would be more comfortable, but it was a lie. It's basically, well, do you remember the first swabs with COVID that you stuck really deeply into the back? And it was like, having never stuck anything that far up my nose before, pretty extreme. I'm going to actually have to do a test because I did stick something up my nose recently. Let me show you if I can find it. Wrong time to try this test because I got a couple of these. This is a new one from China. And it's the little nose expanders that you stick up and when you go to bed at night. I just thought, will it change anything? Because I'm not sleeping well. Maybe I could try one of these that I got. And what happened was that I'd wake up about an hour or two later with the throat absolutely hoarse because like it had dried out completely. I'm not sure. Some science goes on with your nose that maybe humidifies the air. I'm not really sure, but certainly the throat was like cold and hoarse from having those things in, and then I removed them. Maybe it was just because I was ill at the time. I hope we didn't stick the glowing candle holder up the nose. No, Chris Wenham, that would have been quite big. Is the whole war going mad at the moment? No, just war, Rob. It's just war. Religion, war. It lets more spiders in. That went through my mind. Horvath, that's going to wheeze like hell, I believe. It was all right, actually. It actually felt, because look at the nose, it's got like one big nostril and one small nostril. Really tiny nostril, really big nostril. Yes, the nose definitely humidifies and warms the air. See, the air was still going through it, and there are little grooves in it, but it just seemed it made a difference. I don't know if it was, so I took it out. Tried it again another night, and still it had the same effect. Craig Matthews saying, I just got my new headphones, but they need an app to drive them. 250 ohm coil. Any ideas how to clear high frequency noise and AC mains hum off the DC rail? Yes. Use a little audio decoupling transformer. That's what I use here to couple to my speakers, because laptops, because they don't have a ground, and other computers, anything that doesn't have a ground, the current will flow to the item that is grounded, and you get sort of high frequency hummy noise on it. BBC is just one thing. Well, we'll take the BBC with a pinch of salt, Diffmal. But they said breathing through the nose is definitely better for your health in several ways. Apparently so, but then again, yeah, keep in mind these medical programs tend to make up content to fill the gaps. They have to produce content every day, so they generally go and research stuff and then regurgitate it. It's a lot of misinformation on television. But yes, breathing through the nose is supposed to be quite good. Supposedly makes your brain more active. I'm not really sure about that. At the gym, I was told breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. I trusted BBC until about 20 years ago. Yeah, was that actual trust, Chipmunk, or do we just know more about it now? Except you inhale snot bits, that, yes, Peter Stevens. BBC tries, but funny and Tory influx is killing it. That, and it's a huge quantity of privileged rat bag kids, poor little rich kids that are employed at the BBC and don't really contribute a huge amount to it. It's very technically capable. It attracts some of the best engineers in the same way that Otis attracts some of the best elevator mechanics. Any big brand and brands, Cummins, like say JCB attracts the engineers that are geeky because it's a prominent brand. That's what the BBC does. It's got some very good technical crew and editing and production crew, all saddled with not a great management. Craig Matthews got a crap alert today, apparently starting an investigation. Oh, not again. Yes. You could try rinsing your nose. You have issues. The device of which can flow salty water through your sinus is quite good. I have one of those, but a basic one, not the electric one, Horovac. I've got one of the bottles. I've tried it once and it didn't really make a huge difference. DCR asked, that's a no. My boy was fixed on the lounge floor while we sat round watching. Are we talking like dog or cat testicle chopping or what? Very sad to watch a great institution die out. It's had its time. It's had its moment. The new institution is YouTube, which has a mixture. You can choose. Do I want to go in the conspiracy direction or do I want to go in the real science sectional? Big shout out to Erico at South Main Auto for helping knock me out to sleep last night because I watched a video. Sometimes it is just a fuse. I didn't get too far into it before I conked out. My cat, says DCR, it was your cat getting its nads chopped. Not Sprout, can I charge two LR44 batteries in parallel from two AA? LR44, if they're not rechargeable batteries, I don't recommend attempting to charge them because they'll pressurize inside and it's not a great thing. If they were rechargeable, you could trickle charge them in series from a USB power supply with a resistor, but only if they're rechargeable. Don't try and recharge non-rechargeables. Not even the ones that come with the Death Dalek camping lights, which I did the tests, and the batteries that had been supplied as rechargeables, the little green ones, were not rechargeable. Anyone tried the little interdental water squirt that's supposed to replace flossing? I've seen those. Wonder if they're any good diffmal. And YouTube's in the way out. It is not Raven Looney because no matter what all the propaganda goes around and everybody's moving to the new platform, they're not. The biggest rival is maybe going to be Twitter or X or whatever it's called. But the first in, it's like eBay. You're not going to get rid of eBay soon. There are rivals. Wish have a rival, but they were a late arriver. And having said that, the competition, Temu, that started up, did it big style. They obviously had lots of money behind them. Yes, the Chinese government, if you believe all the conspiracists. Yeah, YouTube's only problem is own management. It's not the management so much, it's that they're pandering towards more and more towards, they're being forcibly. A couple of things in the growth of YouTube is the Karens, the rise of the Karens, the contrarians, the narcissists who have targeted them for everything and abused the system. I do need to shave the head. And also, the other thing that's affected them is there's this thing that it's reared its head a couple of times. The finance industry, when it wants to control things, starts throwing their weight about and withdrawing financial services from these organizations. They did it to Patreon. They tried doing it to OnlyFans, but they've almost certainly done it to YouTube. So I'll show you what the script is for. It's something you've seen before, but this is the new improved, tweaked and modified version. It replaces an older script too. So recently you may have seen, I'll just dump these down with a loud clashing plastic noise, and then suddenly remember that I had one printing at the moment, which I should go and grab too, and then shut the 3D printer down. So you may have seen the recent video where I showed that you can make little covers, and this is a more diamondy shape one, and they basically, you can then put them into the little screw caps, but the downside is the screw caps are quite hard to get. So I've made it a universal script that can work in the inside and the outside, and when you, and the sort of base there, and when you do it the outside version, and you can make caps in various shapes using this script, and any size you like, any plastic you like, colours, anything, just the usual stuff, including this one that reminds me a lot of a vintage tube valve. But it lets you do that. Hold on, give me a second. I mean, like Programming Script 3D Printer is indeed a script, a fully, what do they call it? It's got, you can change the variables. What do they call that again? There is a name for it, where you can change the variables in the script to get different results. Oh, I can't remember the name of that now. The print time is about 10 minutes, and that's running slow because I recommend slowing it down, because if you run too fast, it prints it so quickly because it is a single wall shell that it actually can go quite soft. Custom OpenSCAD, yes, there's a name for it. Something, what is the name for that again? No, it's not G-code, it's actually, it's OpenSCAD. Yeah, what do they call that? Oh God, what do they call it when you can put the variables in? Parametric, that's the one, Herbert Trouser Fancy, which that word was not coming to mind. It is a parametric script, but the interesting thing now is that no matter whether you choose an inside or outside diameter, you can choose the thickness of the wall, and I don't know if this will show up, but there is a little ramp in here, a little taper, just to make that bit stronger, but also so that you can get a set of lights. Let me just grab a set. Like these ones that are currently apparently in fashion. Tungsten lights are back because everybody's sick of LED now, but I don't recommend using them over tungsten lamps. I recommend switching to LED. But with this modification, you can slide it over. You can size it to the outside of that. You can slide it over, and once on, it will stop at that little ramp and stop it pushing in too far. It's a very good script, but it is super fast. It doesn't have to be printed what they call VAS mode, because it is just a single wall of plastic. And you can choose, you can say, I don't want it to be a single wall, I want it to be a double wall. You can choose the thickness of that based on multiples of your print nozzle size. My Christmas lights warm white, LEDs run off 3 AA batteries, nuts and proud. You can make these covers that will fit over your lights if they've not got covers already. Yeah, strange to see these back again. Just tungsten is in vogue. They've got it at the local ShopRite, come Tesco, come Iceland, come whatever brand it is at the moment. Craig Matthews, don't touch me about valves. I've seen too much audiophile bullshit this week. It's very lucrative. I don't know why that is. What's your print nozzle size? Do tell. 0.4, just the standard print nozzle size. I just opened my big 1 kilogram tub of silica gel to use it, and then thought, oh no, I just let atmospheric humidity, and then I thought, no, I'll chuck a bag of silica gel, or just heat it, Chris Wenham. What's the time, says Lids. That usually means it's time for fire. I shall put these lights back through. And then we shall have fire. If during one of the streams last week you heard the croak creeping in the back of the voice, that was the sign of things to come. Surprised I didn't give myself another hernia the amount of coughing. Are you ready? Woofle. Fireballs. Woofle. Excellent. Should have done the spider check first. No spiders. There is one up there, but it kind of looks like it's been crispy for a while. I don't know if I've actually toasted it or it's just a dead spider. I'll just sweep it off the ceiling because it just, yeah, because I know it's there. The other thing I've done with this script is, this is actually a globe in here. I can make that just a flat object. I might do a different script for that. And that's a globe up there and they're joined. And that's how the original script used to be, plus a tapered transition to that. But I found that because, depending on the diameter, it had to scale up and down. So I've actually just put a thin ring at the top here. And now it forms what they call a hull around the globe there, and the ring there, and it now means that everything joins together seamlessly, perfectly, and the line consistency is identical all the way across. It works really well. Make sealing a giant mousetrap sticky pad? No, that would be unpleasant. Yes, you could actually use it to do that, but no, I wouldn't recommend it because it forms a shell. Grimshaw says, fire. Are you up to the live bit, Graham? That does look insertable, yes. Well, there are sites that do feature such insertable things, but I'm not sure that I want to put 3D printed objects into orifices. I may adjust the script, though. I may do different things. At the moment, it is just going to a small tip, if you will. But that's purely because it's easier to print. Because it's hollow, it's easier to print up to a fine point, so to speak, as opposed to a curve. If you try and 3D print a globe, the top will always be quite hard for the printer to print just because there's nothing to support it underneath. Version that makes it solid. Why would you? Oh, you could do a version that makes it solid, but this isn't a toy generator. No, this is for fairy lights. I am glad that the emojis are loading really slow for some reason. Okay. Try refreshing the page. Most 3D printing filament isn't body safe and the layer lines do leave hard to clean areas. Yes. I hope you haven't got the Rona again, Clive. Hopefully not, Lee Goodyear, but if I have, then I'll have the latest version. Simon L., a bit late, arrived home late and had to get a drink first. That's reasonable enough. Are 3D printed solid objects strong under tension? Not really sure, Ian Cooper. I wouldn't want it to snap off inside. You'd go to the hospital, they'd take it out and they say, you need to increase the temperature for better layer adhesion. Apparently once you get over some higher percentage of infill, it doesn't really help the strength. 3D printing filament is body and food safe with exceptions. There is that thing about the lines trapping bacteria. Horvath could use a condom over it if you were using it as a toy, I suppose. Use it as emoji could buy silicone kits, that would work. Yes. I'm pretty sure they do that, Joe Russ. I'm holding this and just shaking it as if, to do something. But anyway, the script is down there. The variable, I can't remember what it's called, but it basically changes the ratio of this. As you widen this base, the ratio of this ball will rise to accommodate the wider base, but it forms that skin. So if you actually adjust that variable from 1.7, which is this shape, it will make, say for instance you make it 1, it will be right in the middle, and if you make it sort of higher or lower, 1.7, no, 1.71 would make it in the middle, and zero point 0.7 makes it that sort of valve shape. This shape, but this is the hexagonal version. You can also make it hexagonal or octagonal. It's just experimental. Custom stuff is good. Parametric was a word you just relearned. It was indeed, Christian Herald. If you use a condom, does that make it a posh wank? I'm not sure it would be in the same category, Megavoltmeister. I'm going to put the kettle on. I'm going to go and get that last 3D printed cover and turn the printer off. One moment. I'll also make another cup of coffee. It's a red one using a scrap of filament. You can use scraps of filament because it literally, the design is so efficient that it uses 1 gram of plastic. So you'd theoretically get 1,000 of these out one roll of the stuff. And it's about, the length it uses about 360 millimeters, which is just over, let's see, what is that? In inches, that's about 14 inches. 14 inches of filament, so you can just use offcuts and stick them into your printer and just use up random colours to make these little caps. They're very light. I have to use incognito mode to watch YouTube without ads now. Oh, right, okay, bad bit is login each time. Oh, is this for the ad blocking? Ah. So that means they've identified you as using that, and now they're kind of like blocking people directly, and probably got a checklist then of people who have been blocking their adverts. Ooh. That photo of the green bulb cover would make for great consumer packaging, like an Apple-style iPad box, all white with the green bulb in the front, nothing else, and the lights inside the box. Yes, that's actually an X-ray cut off the light, show the inside. For reference, for those who are into the codes, greetings, Star Delta. For those who are into the scripts and they're not just going to change the variables at the top, if you do change the variables at the top, make sure that you don't remove the little semicolon at the end. It's needed to actually tell it to jump onto the next line. Just so you know that, because it's easy to accidentally delete it. If you are into your scripts, you'll see there's also a little bit at the bottom that is disabled with a couple of hashes, a couple of slanty lines. Backstroked, backslashes, whatever you want to call them. The bits marked X-ray cube. If you remove the two just in the under where it says X-ray cube, it takes a slice out the side at the end of the print just so you can actually see the inside of it if you're adjusting the script to suit your own needs, if you want to actually modify the main code. Ah, Barry Shepherd, anyone notice the doorbell ding-dong that many ads now have beginning? No, that's quite annoying. Makes you jump up and take notes, then go to the door and miss the advert. See, that would be annoying. If I clear cookies, it's okay. Ah, nuts and proud. The Star Delta, talking of Star Delta, the starter relay, the overload relay video that I just released to the general audience is not popular. It never is. Anything that's involved technical components that would be useful to technical people doesn't appeal to as many people. It's one of the perils of YouTube. I'm just going to change the resolution here. It's already changed the resolution. It's giving me Potato Vision at a marvellous 144p here. I'm calling them slanty lines from now on, indeed, but which way? It's just, I can now remember. Slanted left, slanting right, but is that up or down? I clear cookies with the Sesame Street method, yes. Frost Giant. Oh, I ordered. While ill, I cheered myself up by ordering a new Geiger counter. This one is from a Russian company, but they're moved out of Russia while their management was committing war. Rather annoyingly, they're delivering it by FedEx, and you know what that means? FedEx sent me a bill for their processing fee and the duty for the government slice. Wankers. But it's interesting. I was looking for one that has alpha detection, but instead I've gone for one that doesn't measure alpha, but it's a scintillation Geiger counter, and it's very complex. What it can do, it connects to your phone. It's got a screen on it, but it connects to your phone, and you can also, it can measure the electron volts. Probably, I wonder if that's intensity of the scintillation. But it measures the energy of each particle that goes through, and it can actually do spectral analysis of the of what emitted it, so it can work out the most likely radioactive source. / / probably what I was looking for, really. Not knowing which orientation the slanty lines just adds to the fun. Insert slanty lines. Did the software work? No. Reverse slanty lines, it's working. You should be able to tell which isotopes are involved. Yes. But is it pulse proof? No, nothing's going to be protected from the super mega pulse. Which, is it going to happen? I kind of look forward to if it does happen. I think that would be exciting. I'd be all right. I'd work with whatever survived in my huge pile of junk. I mean, it'd probably be screened by the pile of junk. I'd make something that worked, but the internet may be down for a while. Chipmunk with the angle brackets for the XHTML. What do you mean XHTML? I still maintain my website when I maintain it in HTML, raw HTML. Except to corruption that will survive the pulse. Who knows? Dunno. I got a DF Robot Geiger counter a couple of weeks ago. It only needs 5 volts, 25 milliamps, but the MM measured 215 volts across a tube. That's because your multimeter was actually pulling the voltage down. It's very high impedance. It's typically close to about 400 volts, typically, across a Geiger Muller tube, Chris Wenham, because it relies on a gas inside and an avalanche effect when it's the avalanche is triggered by the radioactive particle going through it. Redox says, decayed chains are quite complex, but you can make guess at some as they are so long. It's interesting. Yeah. Looking forward to it, to see how it reacts, and then I'll do some tests and other stuff. This other one has very good software that you can put it on you, and it'll link it to your phone, and it can basically create a if you walk around, it'll create a radiation map of where you walk. So you can look later on and say, oh, there was a peak of radiation in that area, and then you can go back and explore it. Very interesting. Have you seen the 1 megabyte club for small websites? Yours would probably qualify. What, I've not come across that, David. I'm guessing that's basically a website that fits within 1 megabyte. I think mine's bigger than that now. Not sure. It's got a lot of images, but they're not big images. I could probably squish it down to 1 megabyte because it is very leanly scripted. If we switch from copper-based to light fiber-based computing, well, keep in mind, Blair Scouten, the infrastructure's gone fiber optic. I wonder how that's probably going to be a saving grace for voltage differential. I'll go and grab the coffee. and read a couple more comments. Kevin Harris, I have a greeting card, music, and a rotating decorative paper disc. Are you interested? I'll send it to. What rotates it? What rotates the disc? Are there any natural sources in the Isle of Man of what? Retox. Natural sources of what? Oh, radiation. I'm not sure. This unit could help me find out. One moment, I'm going to grab a coffee. Sorted, that took a bit longer than expected. I forgot to actually boil the kettle. That's fine. Soot. That doesn't help. Is it S-O-O-T or is it Soughton? Soughton? But the rotation is the rotation continuous. That would be quite wasteful for a card. Unless it's just something wound up and then it releases. But if it was an actual electrical rotator, that's quite odd. Little clock movement, that would be so wasteful. It's probably the power grid and support's going to be the problem. It is going to have a bit of a rough ride, Mr. Margie, because it is basically loads of antennas to pick up that voltage gradient. Do you know if those glass capacitors, what glass capacitors, have the same issues as the MLCCs of going low resistance draining batteries are burning themselves? The problem there is the super high capacity ones in a small space. I would expect glass would have the same problems, but the whole thing is that if it cracks in the tiniest way, the slightest fracture, lets the very close layers actually just touch each other. It is a little electrical rotator. That's weird. That is quite weird for a card. That's ridiculous. But then again, I suppose clocks have such things. That's strange. Very thin. That is, I will not lie, that is intriguing. But where are you, Kevin Hardesty? If you're in America, shipping stuff could be complicated by politics. Caps using glass as the isolator, not ceramic. Yeah. Ceramic has that dielectric advantages. Not really sure which is the... I'm not sure, do they do multi-layer glass capacitors? I've never really seen that. Latency is substantial tonight, is it? It was at 6 seconds, the last stream I did. Let me just double check this. Let me do an actual physical latency check. Let me just get right up to where it is, because, you know, it tends to update in bits, and I'll do a test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 seconds again. That is quite a long latency. I'll send you America, but it's just card-sized. Okay, that sounds reasonable enough. Reasonable. I wonder if they sell the rotating cards over here. That's strange. It's almost as bad as the cards of the little LCD screen and the video player in them. Wonderful, the roof's leaking again. Is it your own roof, Chipmunk? If my roof ever leaks here, I just go up onto the roof and fix it. It's a flat roof though, not too bad. Bitumen. So not that hard to fix, but you do usually take a wee blow lamp up, just a blowtorch up, just to heat it and melt it around the vicinity of it. Passive components. Oh, right, okay. Craig Matthews, I do know that you get passive, the classic 1N4148 glass passivated diodes, or glass. And you get glass LEDs. Where is there a glass LED? Do I have a glass LED here? Where would my glass LEDs be? Glass LEDs, vintage axial glass LEDs. Very, very dull, based on a standard diode package with one of the earliest red LEDs. It is visible 360 degrees round it, but it's so dim. They used to be put on circuit boards, like, say, for instance, a control panel, just as tiny little indicators. But even at a decent current, they're very dim. Clock, it would be a very dim clock. Give the bitumen a quick blow. Yes, Raven Looney. Glass LEDs, never heard of these. Like glass capsulated. They look like a 1N4148 diode. Probably the same construction because that is a PN junction. But they're little early red LEDs. They are dim. They are very dim. No, Clive, your clock in the back room. What? Is it screwed up? No, it's fine. What? I could bang one on the LED tester, and we'll see. Clive's clock's a little fast. Is it a little bit fast? It tends to gradually get slow over time, I think. I can't remember. Let's play Spot the LED tester. Not immediately finding the LED tester. One moment. What have I done with it? Here it is. Let me just grab one of those irreplaceable vintage diodes. Get one that I've already bent the leads on. Close up. Uh-oh. Typical little diode. Like a small 1N4148 diode. So let me do, that's going to positive to negative. If we can get the lead in. Give me a second here. Yeah, this is 20 milliamps. Can you see that? It's just the tiniest little dot. By modern standards, that should be lighting the room, so to speak. It's just really just a glowing dot. Barely, you know, looking at it, it's just a dim red dot I'd normally associate with 1 microamp these days. But you know what? It's 360 degrees. Literally, you can see it all the way around when you actually look round the end on. When you look from the side onto it. It served its purpose at the time. It's novel. It'd be nice seeing them done brighter. You can use 1N4148 as mini photovoltaic cells. I've only used one as a light detector before. You can also use LEDs, but the current is very low. They only output a fraction of a volt, that's zero current, but it can be done. Yes, the LEDs put out about 2 volts, but at very little current. There are projects on the internet for a LED flasher that uses the LED itself, I think, to actually charge a capacitor slowly and then flashes the LED once it's stored up enough energy. Now this on the other hand, these came from Temu. There's a pack of 5 and they're all different colours, which is nice. And you plug them in, they're one of these little lights and you think, oh, that's bright. I mean, it really is bright, super bright colours. And not surprising it's bright. 2 LEDs in parallel with no resistor inside across 5 volts. The current is huge. Why would someone do that? They're not going to last long. Solar panels glow in infrared if you decide to power them. They do indeed, Electron Box. Can you send one glass LED to Fran? I'm wondering if Fran actually already has LEDs like these. Not sure. I think she may have. I think she may have one of just about every LED. Would this glass LED work as a signal diode? Not sure. Don't know how well it would work. It's not really optimized for stuff like that. Audiences over a lab under a sports stadium cause their gravitationometer to underread. Oh, right, okay. Because I know what that was. Fran is a concise vintage LED collection indeed. There's no vid in their channel. She's got some interesting displays as well. I have some of those same displays too. Let me show you one of the displays that Fran has that she didn't take fully apart. I'm kind of tempted to take it apart. It will never get used. I've got a few of them, but it just seems sacrilege taking it apart because it would be a one-way trip. Hold on, I'll show you. It is a tungsten numerical display. Now, you're not going to see in that. Hold on, I'll get a light and shine it into it. A tungsten numerical display that has 12 lenses, and each lens has a little tungsten light bulb behind it, and it projects a number 0 to 9, plus you can have an outline of red or green on it. But the downside is, looking into this, the panel with the digits looks as though it's been fine-tuned for position. Actually, that looks at an angle. Hold on. I shall finger it. Oh, actually, you know what? The front nav video is called The First Light Emitting Diodes. The front panel is coming off that. That's interesting. Just going to tap this. It looks like something may already be assisting me in getting this apart. Yeah, because the little cover with the colours on it is too nice to destroy. It is too nice to destroy, but, you know, sometimes you have to... The needs of the one are greater than... The needs of the many are greater than the needs of the one. By actually me taking it apart means nobody else will have to ever do it. It's called an inline digital display. And Fran certainly wouldn't take hers apart. But I can take mine apart because I do have more than one. And to be honest, I'm never going to use them, am I? They're just nice to have. But seeing it taken apart and in pieces with a video made about it immortalizes that one item that it could possibly put back together again. I've used them for tap changers and HV transformers. Ah. Lots of discussions, probably political by the look of it. Are they 240 volt? I think they're 24 volt. Not sure what voltage they are. Technically speaking, it could be 12 or 24 volt. I wouldn't use, in a lamp holder this size, although they make them, I wouldn't use tungsten lamps. I think it needs this small, sharp filament. A 240 volt lamp would run very hot and inefficiently because for the strength of the filament. And also, you've got a high voltage across the base, the holder here, which I don't really approve of. I've had issues in the past. I've gone to repair things and it's just been like what actually failed as a panel indicator took out the whole panel because it blew out the circuit on the panel because it flashed over inside. Any ideas it came from, Scavenging a Panel? It either came from an online, I'm not sure, but it either came from an online seller or it may have come from RME in Glasgow. Very high possibility of that. Is it fire time again? It's not fire time. That happens at past, Christian Howard. It's Jägermunion time, although it is not actually time for Jägermunion as such. To the people who worked in early automation era, including the factory machines that had the punch tape and stuff like that, they were a bit intimidating to work on, I have to say. To the early engineers. Yeah, I remember being sent to work on one and I opened it. It wasn't a major problem. It was just broken wire and transformer. But when you opened it, it was really quite intimidating the amount of cabling inside because things like displays like these had so many wires running up to them. And the punch tape reader had quite a complex system plus relays everywhere. Bit scary. Blair Scooting, for me tonight, it's either a sip of the energy drink I have open or Buckfast, or you could combine the two. Do you know what? More wires equal more cool, not when you're fixing it. No. Bit scary when you open some panels. I will admit, I've opened some panels and I've gone, calm down, don't overact. Just do it logically, work through it logically like you're supposed to do. Because you can sometimes open it up and just you see too much at once. Toasting mofos that made stuff because they could, says Abrit. Indeed. Now, I was drinking cream soda yesterday with whiskey in it. No, it was vodka actually I was putting in it, just to energize it. But also, I put a little drop of that toffee vodka with the Carolina Reaper. And the tiniest little drip turns it into the ginger beer of such potency it makes you sneeze when you actually drink it because the fizzy bubbles actually carry the pepper. And it's quite spicy. It tastes just like ginger beer. It's really weird. But the last one, just before I finished the night, I poured a wee tiny drop and it went glug, and a wee bit too much went in. It was like, took me a long time to finish that drink. It was fiery. I saw punch tape powered drilling machine, very clever for 1978. Yes, nuts and proud. Love seeing a tangle of spaghetti behind a neat panel. This is what it looks like, Blair. It is neat panel on the outside, not so pretty on the inside. Having said that, you see all the wires all laced tightly together in neat bundles. Sometimes that's not helpful. It can hide damaged wires. Punch tape cam was what I was taught in school. Relatively useless, but it got the theory down. I suppose the schools would be stuck, Rifleman, with the old machinery that they had. They couldn't really afford modern CNC stuff. Nowadays, you can get a CNC machine effectively, the 3D printer, for a couple of £100, if that. Chipmunk, think that's lots of wires. Try 200 outlet, 2000 type selector wiring loom, 600 wires, twisted pair 2. Indeed. Just a methodical job. Just basically terminating thousands of wires and hoping you didn't get them too wrong if they're too dense. Thermocam can help find issues on old relay systems. I would think if I had been an elevator mechanic back in the 60s, I would have thought a thermal camera, it would have been, you'd go in and you'd look and you'd say, those contacts there need done. And you'd zoom up and go, yep, that contact there is overheating. That's the problem there. That one's really hot. Or that resistor's really hot. So you know there's something jamming on with that. In France, it's very neat and tidy, I see. Got a new washing machine this week. Ended up taking the top cover off to remove the shipping bolts and 3 broken pieces. Very tightly stuck in. Oh, right, okay. Lovely. Mike hand that makes you wonder what happened in the thing. Yes, it's a fucking lift. I have to say elevator because everybody in the UK knows what an elevator is, but nobody in America seems to know what a lift is. And the surprise to me was how M code is still around commonly used. But that's once you've generated your the G code, you'll find all those little M characters in it for printing the object. It's still, I don't think there's a need to change. Thermocap back then would make you an engineering god, but it would also be from the future, Brits. You'd have to be very careful and say, I found the problem. How'd you find it so quickly? Oh, just, intuition. And where did you get the manual? We've not even printed it yet. And how did you print it out? What? We've not even written it. I wouldn't mind working in the past era, but actually my accommodation, it would just be a small place and basically most of the room in it would be a teleport machine and time travel machine to get me back to this era. So in the old days, they just had to go and touch the contacts to see if they were hot, which they did. And still do. There's lots of very old lift controllers in, Britain and America, like really old ones. Big slab of slate type controllers simply because, they don't break down. Or if they do break down, there's not too much, there's no process around that. There's no switchboard power supply. There's just contacts that you can actually change or file or put a new brush in. All super serviceable. I'd like to be in the 70s, the music. If I could go back to any time, it'd be the mid-70s perhaps, just so I could relive the 1980s technological revolution. Thermocalibrated finger, just like my torque calibrated arm, indeed. Is it universally called escalator? Blair, you mean stepilators? No, am I kidding? It is an escalator. That is the standard name. I think that was a name invented by Otis, maybe? Not really sure. Or Schindler? Don't know. It is just escalator. New project, build a time machine. That'd be nice, Simon Allen. But let's face it, if they existed, there'd be people changing time left, right, and centre. But who knows? Maybe it is a different dimension that runs parallel. Who knows? You can't tell. It sounds like sci-fi, but you can't rule anything out. Keep in mind that right now you have a little glass screen that has access to all the known universe in the internet, knowledge in the internet, in the known universe. Access to all the knowledge in the known universe. That's what I was talking about. Okay, it does need connected. They didn't mention that. And it's made of glass, and if you drop it, it breaks. They didn't mention that in Star Trek. Multiverse theory, indeed. Nothing can be ruled out because we have a very small subset of physics and we've not discovered everything yet. I was thinking that earlier when in the Victorian era, they probably thought they were the bee's knees, that, they discovered all these major scientific breakthroughs and where could we go from now? If you'd shown them what we have now, they'd be like, what? So what's it going to be like 100 years in the future? Assuming society doesn't destroy itself before then. The knowledge isn't on the device, but how do you know the Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy didn't access an intergalactic database? It'd be interesting fitting the whole internet into one device. That'd be quite big. To invent time travel, you must have knowledge of space travel, indeed. Complex. Multiverse theory might explain some ghost incidents, Careless Head, or most of them could be explained by the shadow people and your brain creating images. Give Isaac Newton a 3D printer, yes. Or really annoy him, show him it running, but then teleport away again so he can't. You're like, oh, I want it, but I can't have it. And then he'd draw pictures of it, and then, yeah, that would mess time up a wee bit, wouldn't it? I'm not really. I'm just looking for comments here to actually act upon. So I might make a video about these new covers, showing how to use the script. But having said that, those videos about 3D printing videos are never popular. They've got a much smaller audience. Wikipedia can now fit in a micro SD card. That wouldn't surprise me, David. Wikipedia is big, but having said that, the micro SD capacity, it's ridiculous what they're doing. Juraj, when we'll get a haircut? The haircut needs shaved off completely. Maybe I'll get Ralph to shave my head next time as across. Much easier than me trying to do it myself and missing tufts at the back. I've been tempted to Arduinos, Careless Head. I have a drawer full of Arduino stuff here, but I've never really clicked with it yet. It's useful, but I've just not clicked with it because it's like learning to program again. Then again, it was like learning to program again, learning how to use OpenSCAD. Ravenlooney, Scotland has been in the year 2140, but at high price, Inverness is the new capital. What could well be? Glasgow should be the capital. The capital of drug use. I think Edinburgh holds that glory. Aren't those mega-dense storage cards prone to corruption? I would guess yes, Craig Matthews, because there's more to go wrong, isn't there? Blair says, here's an unofficial poll of being... Is it Wayne's or Bairns? Both, to be honest. Wayne's and Bairns works together. I'd use... It just depends what you're saying. Use both. I don't know if it's a regional thing. What fun is to get a novelty called out coin. A hollow £2 coin is big enough capacity for a micro SD card. You could put Wikipedia and Britannica, etc., and then spend it. Yes, that'd seem a waste, Chris Wenham. All that knowledge gone. Now you're making me think, how many kids have 3D printed slugs for candy? You know, the ones you put the coin in and then you rotate it and it dispenses candy. Sweets, nuts, whatever. The beaver vending machines. How would they defeat that? Because they're entirely mechanical. I think they just have to hope that nobody used them. Just that Glasgow and Edinburgh are gone, oh, that must have been after Trident exploded. Yeah. I 3D printed token for the supermarket trolley. 3D print one that jams in it permanently. You could theoretically 3D print tokens for dodgems as well. They'd be keeping an eye out for that. When you go to the fairground, don't underestimate Because it's their job, because they're there all the day and they know their stuff inside out, they'll see when you've done something to a machine. Here's a poll for you. Who actually used the marker tape above buried cables? Craig Matthews. When was the last time I was involved with buried cables? I don't think we used tape above them back in that era. But you occasionally find it when you're digging, then stop. Who's taping the cell phone camera? I don't do that, Christian Herd. That is over paranoia. I 3D printed emergency key for my flat. Not sure I'd trust that, Horvac. I'd be worried in case it broke in the lock. It covers your ass when some nitwit cuts it. That is true. Yes. There was a warning. You ignored the warning. It's your fault. Graham Shaw, I heard a thing in the reader today. Kids are trying to recharge disposable vapes. The USB charger burning their houses down. I made a video just about that. Basically said, stop doing this. They're cutting the lead, burying the ends, putting it across the battery, and then just, there's no current limiting, but they also can charge up to 5 volts and the batteries will burst into flames. I made a video about it ages ago. What can you do? A phone camera covered. It's not really, Clive. Okay. I've got nothing to hide that I can think of. Blair says, my replies here is just one in Embrun, other of Glasgow, which actually wee shites, but they're all wee shites, to be honest. Could you use washers and coin pusher machines? No, because it will detect the hole in the middle of the washer. It will actually use as a little latch mechanism. It will pop through that. Where's a coin mechanism? Hold on, I'll go and grab a coin mechanism. So it depends the mechanism. This one doesn't have that, but it does have a little weight. It'll weigh the coin. If I drop this coin in, you'll see it lands in this first, that then tips it over if it's the correct weight. If it's too light, it won't tip it over. And that's just stuck because that is most likely, is it? It's a steel cord penny. The steel cord pennies were an absolute disaster. If you have, hold on, if you have an old slot machine and it's prone to jamming, because when you press this down, normally that's the guide that it rolls down there. It should normally pop open to actually eject the coin. It won't do that. I shall go and get, this is a S10 coin mechanism. Is it S10? I think it's an S10. Each one is optimized and set up for a different coin. Let me go and show you how you get around this. If you've got an old gaming equipment, like I've got the old pull handle fruit machines, and the steel cord pennies stick to the magnets and just jam up, and there's even pressing the reject, it won't be able to reject it because it's sticking to the magnet. I'll show you the way around that. You go in Thingiverse and you type in the S10 coin mech, and it goes into all the existing mounts, but all that happens is it's got a channel to slow the coin down, and I drilled this hole afterwards. The hole is for blocking the coin mechanism when it's stopping it from when the game's out of play, or when it's actually being played. When you put a coin in, it can only handle one at a time, so a little relay mechanism just blocks the hole so the coin can't go down. But all it does is it basically lets the coin go straight through, but slows it down with that slight gradient. And it means that any coin will go through, but it doesn't really matter if it's your own machine. It's not having to look for bad coins. That's printed in two parts. There are wee pins you're supposed to put in, but I just put screws in because it's better putting them in. Modified the file to suit my own needs, as you do. Ah. No, Chipmunk, that's not a bad idea. Using soldering cables onto the banjos for the armored cables. Ah. I know a guy whose Apple Watch asked why he was running at 4 a.m. He was entertaining himself at the time. Oh, right, okay, that's reasonable enough. Oh, does it monitor for such things? Oh, I went to a bar in Lyon. They had a jukebox that took franc coins. You bought them from the barman. I've still loads. I've got a bag of them somewhere. Not so proud because I worked at Disney in Paris before the currency was changed to euro. So I ended up just with tons of the coins. We had a game that we made in one of the porta cabins. It was called Francs a Million. And it was a cardboard box made up to look like a slot machine because it was annoying. The francs are just a small coin. When you put them in, is it the franc? It was the cent. It was the equivalent of 1 cent, so to speak. But it was basically you stuck them in. It was just held up with tape inside, and at one point, it was just going. The whole lot was going to come out the bottom. And if you were the one who put the coin in at that time, you had to take all the coins. It was like a punishment. I could make a 3D printed slot machine like that. What other games did you and the boys play in the cabins? We played attach safety cables with crimps onto lights. That's what we played, and just preparing all the lights for use in the park. And then going and putting them in. Frost Giant says the lecture meter in Bedsit had only took two shilling coins, hundreds of them. Had to buy them by the bag from the landlady. Really? The only time I've ever stayed in accommodation was in Blackpool, where they had coin-operated television, and the cash box was on, so I just basically put a coin through, caught it, and just watched it for nothing. The Italian pre-euro currency was madness, so many to pound. Ah. Just remember you're on. Greetings, Boudica. It's all right. We're not too far into the stream. Well, over halfway, actually, yes. But that's okay. Only Phil's Norris played in that when Dell and Rodney won the lottery. Ah. Almost far time. It is in 7 minutes. We should train cows to collect discarded vapes in exchange for treats. Not sure that would work. I don't think many. I suppose people do throw them into fields. You don't really want them chewing on them, to be honest. I have a few Romanian coins from the Iron Curtain times. Ah. I guess they'll go collectible at some point, but probably well into the future. People in the Isle of Man. Oh, crows. Yeah, that would work better. But they could be quite big for a crow. I started saying something, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, the Isle of Man. There are people in the Isle of Man who sell coins in good condition on eBay to collectors. Manx coins. Liz says, I'm waiting for far time. It is in 6 minutes. People in the Isle of Man, just random people in the Isle of Man, yes. I'd love to buy a fruit machine, Peter Harriman. eBay, fruit machine, you can buy them. You could buy one right now if you wanted. See if someone's local. Does the Isle of Man have its own currency? It uses a pound, but it's got its own notes and coins. Hold on, I have a coin here. Is it a Manx one? No, it's not a Manx one. I don't think it's a Manx one. No, it's not. What about the notes? Aren't Manx coins called Manky coins? Sometimes they are Manky. Here we go. Here's a Manx £10 note. I've actually got currency with the three legs of man and the Queen. I'm not sure if they've got new ones with the King now, because she's dead. The Queen is dead. Like the Scottish notes, yes. The ones that aren't accepted in England, yes. Scottish banknotes better UV effects than English ones. One of my co-workers at the Tattoo, Ian Cooper, carries little ultraviolet lights. He likes seeing all the ultraviolet markings. And he said the Scottish ones, he was collecting all the Scottish notes because they had really distinctive markings. And not all visible in just the basic ultraviolet wavelengths. No, it wasn't Steve Christian Herald. It was Ed, the geeky one. I'm just going to go and make another cup of coffee. I'll be more organised about it this time. With Scotland to switch Euro's currency, there has been discussion of that. Whether you'd want to do that, I'm not sure. There was talk about it. Until, of course, they did the very bogus-looking investigation in the previous Scottish First Minister. I'm trying to make suitable conversation subjects. Oh, I'll show you some of the meters I got. Just give me a second, I'll get the coffee, because it is just prepared. Cafe, and I'll go and grab another display. Grant Rennie's here. Greetings, Grant. I was just grabbing a coffee there. This note is good for £1 of stuff in the technical pile. That'd be quite a lot of pound. Yes. An eBay module. This one has the red and green display, voltage and current. It's got a little current transformer. And the circuitry is super minimalist with that really small capacitor for 470 nanofarad, I think it is. I think it's 470 nanofarad. Interesting circuitry, but you can see from the number of pins for the display, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 pins for that number of segments in the display kind of suggests that it's a tri-state multiplex display with the absolute minimum component count in there. Really small component count to create a meter like that. I think that'll be all the circuitry on this side. That will be interesting to reverse engineer. I guess this circuitry for this is literally just going to use it as a current source and then just a resistive divider. We shall find out in due course. Electron box, spider building a web over my CCTV camera. They do that, yes. I had a couple of those modules, they stopped showing current properly after a while. That'll be interesting to know why they did that. Yeah. Did it show anything at all? You have to be careful when you're putting it in. Don't leave the current transformer open circuit. It can just, there's this thing that if it's open circuit, that you'll get a high voltage, open circuit voltage. It can cause problems with damage to the windings. Maybe that is the problem then. Maybe they're such a high impedance. I'm not sure. Don't know. What's the time, says Liz? It's time for fire, but not from this particular item. Well, maybe it will be when I plug it in. Time for fire. Woofling. And again. Woofle. Ah, the joy of fire. Now, I could show you the other circuit board that arrived, or I could show you the picture of it, which is a lot bigger, so I've already taken a picture of it, and not really totally looking forward to reverse engineering it, because it looks a bit weird. As with many Chinese circuit boards, it arrived in a little plastic bag, and it is a solar controller. Here is the picture of the circuit board. You've got the solar input, you've got the ground for the solar panel, you've got the battery and that's ground, and then you've got the output plus and minus. And it's designed for driving LED displays, and you connect a battery to it. If it's 6 volt, it will auto-detect it's a 6 volt. If it's 12 volt, it'll auto-detect it's a 12 volt and charge it accordingly. If it's a lithium ion cell, it'll detect if it's 3.7 volts, but it won't be able to detect a lithium iron phosphate. If you put a lithium iron phosphate in, you have to put a link across this middle here, apparently, and it will tell it that's lithium iron phosphate. But they have lasered off the number of the 8-pin microcontroller. There's a surprise. Imagine doing that. Not an original idea, but they felt they need to protect it anyway. I'm guessing that's a PTC fuse. There, looks like a PTC protection against overcurrent. I shall reverse engineer that at some point. Oh, and this Aneng tester, this one is a treat. Let me go and stick some batteries in it. Just catching up on comments. DCM, a cat just woke up and popped his head out. It was blanket, love to be warm. Cats love the heat, yes. Nice name. Can't imagine what your ceiling looks like, Budika. It's dark, but mainly dark because of something Kevin did a while ago for more flames. So yeah, interestingly, I couldn't work out what way the batteries went into this because it wasn't clear. Turns out that embossed on the side is the direction of the batteries. That's handy. I wonder how many people have destroyed it by putting them in the wrong way around. Let me just pop this in. Okay. So it speaks Chinese. I don't know if there's a way to convert it. You've got this. So now it's got a laser, right? It's got a fucking laser. So when you put it near something to test it, find a wire. When you turn it off, oh, it's got a little light as well. And it tells you you've turned the light on. And then you turn it off and it goes goodbye in Chinese. I don't think it speaks English. Also, going by the reviews, it has a huge technical flaw in its software. If you turn it on, It's, was that turned on or was that turned off? Hold on. Oh, that's modes. Oh, fuck knows. Anyway, when you turn it off, if you don't turn it off, if it goes to sleep itself, if you turn it off at the button, it has a super low quiescent current. If you let it go to sleep itself, it turns itself off, but then runs a battery flat, apparently. According to the reviews. Is this thing on or off? I don't know if this thing's on or off. It's got no... Is it the battery low or what's this? Oh, fuck knows. Right, okay, anyway. Yeah. Oh, it is on. Yes, anyway. God knows. Yeah, it's saying dodgy. That's exactly what it's saying. It's a very odd thing. Why would you need it to speak? Why would you need a freaking laser? Just to actually hold it up to a socket or wiring to see if it's live or not. It's not that you can do it from a distance. I wonder if it could be more annoying. I don't think it could. It's just like, just because you can, doesn't mean you should. However, I'll go and get another meter. I might have shown this, not really sure. This is an Aneng pen meter. I've been buying a few Aneng meters, not a sponsor. And this one has a little relay inside. You can hear it click, but it does automatic detection of things, like continuity. But it also, if you select manually, it does the field detection as well. Hold on. It's not super loud, but it is detecting. But also by using manual selecting, you can actually lock the AC or DC ranges, and it's also capacitance and diode test with a high enough voltage to actually make an LED light up quite brightly. It's an interesting little thing. Bit of a gimmick. They seem to think it's rated for working in panels. There's no way it's rated for working in panels. Megawatt Meister View now goes with features lasers are better than LEDs. It's got LEDs and lasers. And talkie is better than beeping, yes. Oh, who knows? Maybe it does appear in Bluetooth. I'm not really sure. Hold on, I'll just check this is live on my phone. Yes. I'm surprised that they've not put they will have non-contact voltage tester into a phone, because let's face it, that would be a very cheap addition. Talks of benefit of the blind, yeah, that's proud. Not great. Blind electricians, not recommended for like fatal electrocution reasons. Sounds like crunchy, it does, Megavolt Meister. Have you seen those wireless things? You plug it into a beep a remote unit. I've not seen that particular one. Oh, talking of the NIC, EIC, they're doing publicity stunt at the moment. They've got a kitchen fitter who did a dodgy electrical joint, and one of their members sent a picture into the Snitch People In page, which they don't actually feature the ones that were other NIC, EIC people, and they're all like, oh, he must be prosecuted, because they do that. Occasionally they just jump one person and they get the health and safety to prosecute them, and then they go, the NIC, EIC has had this person prosecuted and sent to prison, just so it makes them look real. That's called persecution, I believe. What if someone makes a talking BP? Talking blood pressure? Or not sure. Maybe they don't start a blind big flash. That could happen. But Sen China 4 tonight, prisons are full. Yes. Wonder why. Hope we'll free up some space for politicians, or better still, just put them into electric chair, and then we wouldn't need to put them in prison because it's quite expensive. I suppose they're just getting rid of people. When I was apprentice, they did a medical beforehand. The main thing that stopped people getting in was colour blindness test. That makes sense, DCN. Not fair for people who are colourblind, but it's just better. What do you think about the Gosport Handyman? Gosport Handyman? Is that the YouTuber? No, Ultimate Handyman comes to mind. Some of the handyman enthusiast type guys are very good. Better than many electricians, particularly at fucking Part P. That was a rant. I thought the whole point of the new colours was that they were suitable for colourblind people to identify. See, the question is, do you really want that to happen? Technically speaking, they could use a filter that would actually just let them see dark or light, and the Earth is stripy. Oh, who knows? Part P. The P stands for profit or protection racket. Oh, Steven Seagal. It's 23:14. Summer neighbour thinks it's perfect time to start DIYing. It just gets the impulse at that time. Or maybe something terrible's been going on. Maybe they're someone trying to get out of the house they're locked in. The Chipmunk says, I'm colourblind electrician, Cloud, no problem in your old colours. It'd be interesting to see how you interpret the colours. Horvath, you had to switch because of your Brussels overlords, and I'm vested interest, because I really don't know why. An organisation that, well, I'm glad it changed its name from the Institute of Electrical Engineers. I don't understand why any organisation that presented itself as technically competent would allow the switch from one colour scheme to another colour scheme that was so vague, and also swapped to the phase and neutral colour. It was just beyond the realm of belief. That was another rant. Do those colour blindness correction glasses, do they actually work? The ones that basically tune it to the colour that you've got a deficiency of? The swapping blue and black was a dick move. It was just ridiculous, yes. I know a colourblind electrician has some tinted glass to help, and that would make sense. I'm guessing most of these people discovered they were colourblind afterwards, or maybe it's the fact they were colourblind made them say, well, I'm going to do it anyway, which is quite right, it's fine. People ask about the resistor colour codes, but if they're colourblind, I say to them, just get yourself a selection of resistors and label them well, and just use your meter to check things beforehand, just to double check. I think the problem is people making regulations to keep themselves in a job. I'd sack them all. Too late to go back to the old colour codes, although I preferred the old colour code, the phase colours, because they were spread one end of the spectrum, middle of the spectrum, and far end of the spectrum. And it just made sense. Really vivid colours. The modern ones are not vivid. They could put braille, technically speaking, they emboss the cables, they could put braille on them. Not sure that'd be a good idea. Because you'd be running your finger going, yep, that is the yellow phase conductor, sorry, the grey phase conductor. And then it would just run right off onto the copper. So not a great idea. George Spelling says, I'm colourblind too and have a type which is very rare and it got excitement when diagnosed. I wonder what version you have. Who knows how each you perceive colours or even think of things? You don't really know how other people perceive things because you can't really be in their mind as such. The colours look the same now and they're all covered in oil, crap and mud. Yes, David, it's just like bland, and bland. They're all shades of dark. It's just only an office worker would have come up with that colour scheme. It's just idiotic beyond belief. Kevin Hardstay says flames. No, no flames. Bundle conductors have ridges to identify them. Yes, Jerry BVR, the overhead, the ABC aerial bundle conductors that feed power to many houses these days, the ones that are made of aluminium and they've got insulation displacement connectors that are burning up left, right, and centre now, they do have ribs on them with lots and lots of ribs in the neutral because it's kind of an important one. I expect one of us sees things a little differently indeed, Scott Strello. And your eroticism, that will apply to that as well. I've just got different attitudes to everything. And I'd love to know what's going in some people's minds when they're being technical experts and really delusionally technical experts. I'd love to see what's actually in their head. If you grew up being told red's green, what's your perception? I wonder, well, that does happen, Mr. Margie. That happened with a tribe somewhere. It is documented that they treated two colours as being one, just because there was only one name for the both of them. Just we had a different names. Ultimately, we chose to give lots of names through the colours through the spectrum. Maybe they chose just a few. And although they'll be able to tell, like, say for instance, red could be a deep red or it could be an orangey red, but you'd call it red either way. Imagine if that went from red to green, but they were all called red. You'd just say, what colour is this? Well, it's red, even though it was green, because that's the name we call it. From red to green is red, because we only call it red. Orange and brown is indeed the same colour. Brown is real, just darker. The Dunning-Kruger effect, Megavoltmeister. Part of me wants to see what it's like. Maybe I was like Dunning-Kruger as a kid, but I don't think I was. Certainly I had Dunning-Kruger elements when I was young, when you're an expert in everything, but at least I had a good chunk of knowledge to go with it. But I think it'd be worrying going into the head of someone else who had proper Dunning-Kruger electrical expert. Koreans apparently don't have separate orders of green and blue. There is green blue, but that's it. Cyan. Tricky. And now it's about language affecting perception. But it really is how you're brought up. Brown and purple foil is delish. Yes, that'll be Cadbury's then. Brown is not real, Clive. Do you do dark orange poos then? Ancient Greeks don't have a word for blue. What is it about blue? Oh, actually, you know what? It's the fact that blue flowers are relatively rare-ish, except that people now want to breed them because it is quite a nice colour. But blue dye was quite hard to get. Everything was just devoid of blue in the past, apart from the sky, right enough. The sky would be, and the sea, would be a pretty obvious effect of being able to look at blue, although the blue is a reflection from there's technicalities. The reason the sky is blue is it not because oxygen colours it blue, and then what about the sea is a reflection of that? But it's not actually blue. I poo in the dark. Well, it's black poo then. No blue Smarties. There were no blue Smarties then, nuts and proud. They probably cause children to have attention deficit disorder. That's why blue is used for food safety. Yeah, the blue sticky plasters. We don't eat that many blue foods. In fact, isn't it kind of like odd when you get blue? Although Slush Puppy comes to mind as being the exotic blue drink. And blue curacao, but they're novelties. Lots of coffee. The throat is still a bit hoarse after last week. There's no brown toilet paper. Well, there is by the time you finish with it. Brown toilet paper wouldn't be terribly useful. The peak sensitivity of the eye is sort of greeny yellow. Less sensitive at red and blue. Scruff Dog, it would not surprise me there's lots of blue junk food in the United States. sold in huge obesity-causing bags. Didn't you put the kettle on for something? I did. The sky in blue, it can be blue, yes. Mr. Blue Sky. The beginning of wisdom is realizing how little you know. Oh, don't tell the politicians. I always wondered if the American black-white colour was based. That's a good point. The simplest way of colouring rubber, possibly. Uncoloured and coloured. I don't really know. Carbon? They couldn't use carbon, could they? Too much carbon, the cable itself would become conductive. Then again, maybe that's why it's the neutral and not the live. Who knows? We don't know the history of the colour codes and how things evolved. Scott Streller, now I'm going to have that song stuck in my head, not as much as we had it when it was part of the show, when we had the Mr. Blue Skies part of it. The audio department tried to auto-tune it live, which did not go well. It took a long time to sort that out. It was going all over the place. And also, we had lasers on that show. And lasers are a pain in the arse because there's so many safety regulations that it extended our shift considerably, because once the audience had fully left, we had to go and do a full audit on maximum intensity of laser dot screens. The audience area, because it was well diffracted, the lasers, it was all scattered. It wasn't the high power ones. The higher power ones, we had to make sure they were all above the audience level, but not anywhere near the control room eye level and not in the follow spot eye level. It was just a pain in the ass. Also, you had to consider buildings it might shine onto in the distance. Of course, that doesn't apply to disc jockeys with their eBay laser pointing directly into the audience's faces. As I've said before, if you go to a nightclub and they're pointing lasers into the audience, walk out. Just get out of there, because lasers are not eye safe. Live autotune is hilarious. Yes, Craig Matthews. It has to. Well, that was the autotune. It was the vocoder they were using. Mr. Blue Sky, and there were that sort of harmonic effect, and it went so wrong. Not to worry. Christian Howard, I watched the BBC thing of the two. They should have given it longer than 1 hour. They kept talking about performances. They always tune it down because it's a 1.5 hour show, and it was absolutely solidly on the button 1.5 hours this year, every show. But they trim it down to cut out the less thrilling acts, and they just say, sorry, there just wasn't room for everybody. But in reality, they're saying, let's make it all the best acts. Were they low enough power to just cause blindness but not fire or igniting the air type stuff? When we were testing the lasers in the control room, we were opening up, we had condensation ingress into them, which is they were rated for outdoor use, but condensation, moisture got in, really well designed, but not moisture proof. They were supposed to be moisture proof. It condensed in the front. Instead of getting the crisp laser beams, it diffused it out into just splash of light coming out of the thing. And we were just checking it out and saying, oh, that is working okay. And then someone said the coffee jar. There's a jar of like the sort of like it was like hot chocolate, but it was the dark plastic jar, and it was busy. There was smoke coming off it, and there was a hole being burnt through it from the laser. So cuttable power, yes. Made a hole through someone's drinking chocolate. Sorry, laser. Was it Har that got him? It wasn't the Har, but the Har, while producing a good effect, really attenuated the throw of the lasers. That attenuates the light a lot. We didn't really have a bad Har this year, which was pretty good. Do I look directly into laser with raining eye? Indeed. Why is laser light always so prickly? The specular reflection, because you're getting a reflection of lots of tiny little laser lights, laser beams. It's a coherent beam of light, and when it hits something, instead of just diffusing, it reflects back as that solid beam. It's like a microscopic mirror ball, fires it back as lots of tiny beams, coherent beams. That's why it looks sparkly. Assuming it issued proper safety goggles if they're that powerful. I think we did have safety goggles. Did we wear them? We didn't really open them much and use them. It was just that one before we decided, oh, they're quite powerful, yeah. I mean, precautions were taken, but we knew it was shiny. We were going to check the wall, make sure it didn't damage it. Though, having said that, even a reflection from a wall can be quite damaging. But yes, not enough safety, no. Paul, I've just been looking at my tub of super glue and noticed it has a shelf life of 12 months, been used for 2 years now. You'll know when it's gone off because it's just absorbed all the moisture and it's just basically, it's gone solid. That's what usually happens to mine. Laser point those 1970s transparent mirror clips is fun. Transparent mirror clips. Not sure. What sort of power did you have in the laser stimulated phosphor disc lights? I think they were rated about 500 watts. Not sure. They were, or was it that high? Can't remember. I need to look up the spec for that. Not seen inside one yet. It goes solid clef, yes. How much power do lasers draw? Not much, because ultimately lasers don't have to be high power for a good visual effect. USA think I've had them at the motel. Smear clip. Okay. 500 watts laser there. That is a high for a laser. I'm not sure what the power of the actual laser in the lights was. They were very punchy. You could actually put a recess down here, because there are steps that go down about that, just to the side here. So I could drop this down to down about here, but that wouldn't be terribly practical. And then there'd be steps here, right next to me. Ah. Oh, is that a lockable superglue tip? There is a void under here you could put bodies in, yes, but I think the smell would be pretty bad. Creamash says, I'm surprised you're allowed to fire those at a group of people. Like a 5-watt laser would bolt onto a desk and lock the key. So you're not getting the laser out of these. It's a laser stimulated source. The laser is fired onto a spinning disc of phosphor. No specific laser energy comes out. It's all white light from the phosphor, the way it's designed for safety. Also, it lets them colour the beam using subtractive colouring after that, just using one laser onto the sort of white source. A lot of the lights used a white source. Only some of our lights, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, had RGB sources in them. Think that's right. The profiles. Oh no, I'm talking crap. The wash lights all had RGB white sources in them as well. But the actual, like the profile or moving lights, they were all just white based. What if the disc burns up and the laser comes out? The laser is at the back and the laser is firing onto it. So if it burnt through the disc, A, the safety circuit would kick in, and B, it would just fire into the back of the unit, into the heatsink. Interesting lights. I've not seen inside. I get the feeling that the laser module is going to be all sealed for protection anyway. Looking forward to eventually getting to... Oh, it glitched. Look forward to getting to open one of those lights in the future, maybe. If... Could be still used in the future. If I'm back in that job. You never know, self-employed, so ultimately it depends if they have me back. Been there for 20 years, that means nothing. When does the stream end? I got to make a phone call to USA. You could do that at any time at all, Nuts and Proud. It will actually end. It's coming up in 2 hours, so it'll probably end in about 5 minutes. Not been any Poundland since we parted company. I've not been to Deal here at all. Last time I was in Poundland was in Glasgow. Jaeger time, it is Jaeger time. Let me think. Sadly again, there is something that has to be done to. And it's all a fresh start again. To the victims of war. That's all the people that are being massacred, but not the people who caused the wars. To the victims of war. Lots of wars happening right now for no good reason at all. I have to end on Woofle, not necessarily. Maybe I will. Best death, cancer from asbestos or radiation poisoning Temu products. Well, Tom G, neither hopefully. Once I get my little unit that is going to be delivered within the next week or two, the new scintillation Geiger counter, it's going to be interesting to analyse some of those products and look at the waveforms they produce. Look down. Is there something wrong with the head? To people that had cars at Luton Airport, yes. To the electric car haters for the fact it was a diesel one that went in the fire. Oh no. Not according to the conspiracists. And is it something like 20 times the ratio of a petrol or gasoline car going on fire, an ICE, an internal combustion engine vehicle going on fire, two electric vehicles, 20 to 1 ICE, internal combustion engine vehicles? But they don't mention that statistic. Have you found any SACM in Temu product? SACM? Hold on. I'm going to refresh my memory here. SACM. Saudi Arabian Cultural Mission? No. No, not coming up here. SACM, it's coming up. Security Automation, Continuous Monitoring. Lots of acronyms here. Yes. Everybody did assume it was an EV because they just burst into flames, apparently. Oh no. You need 10 times more water to put out an electric car, but not that diesel one that went up. Took out all the cars in the vicinity. The problem is EVs, they do tend to sustain. I think I could do some work on that. It was an electric car made the diesel car burst into flames. Apparently, it was the 5G COVID death beam in the diesel car that caused it to go on fire. Siberian arse chomping module, that's the one. I've not come across one of those. But the Land Rover did not go on fire, it was the car in front of it. Okay. Oh, suspect asbestos containing materials. Who knows? I'm suspicious about one thing I bought from eBay that may have asbestos, and it's it's got something that looks like a strip of linoleum, and it's the heat seal unit that has the sort of heated surface with the Teflon around it, and you press it down. But the other thing, I got some fibre, which was sold as being ceramic fibre for kilns, and I'm not. This material, no, it was supposed to be aerogel or something. It was some weird. I ordered it from eBay. What came through is a very non-confidence inducing white fibre of unknown construction. Don't know what it is. What is this EV story? Kevin Hart states not an EV story. Look up Luton Airport, Luton, Luton Airport. Ooh. It's an airport where a car went on fire and in their car park and set fire to a load of other cars, and then the whole thing collapsed, and then vehicles are trapped in, and people can get out the airport. It's all stuff. It's the Russians that did it. Yes. How about you for poor Bernie Ecclestone having to pay 650 million fine? Don't know anything about it. It's odd for a rich person to get fined, though. I'm sure the money will find its way back. Anyway, the stream will be coming to an end relatively shortly, but I'll be back, hopefully less croaky, on Saturday. And I'll put that stream up round about now. And maybe, I'm not sure, to make a video about these or not, not sure. I may do it, I'm not sure about that. The crazy thing is car park didn't have any sprinklers. It will now, Andy Fletcher. That is odd not to have sprinklers to manage a fire like that. Now they know that that's not a good cost-saving measure. It makes me think of MGM, the original MGM fire in Las Vegas, when sprinklers would have stopped that. But it turned out that it didn't, and they'd been recommended them. They just decided not to. But not to worry. It happens. Anyway, Whiffle. After show's up and ready. After show is already linked to Scruff Dog. I just need to release my video link. I shall have a Whiffle. I should top this up again. It is leaked. Couple of Whiffles. Whiffling. Whiffle. And another. Whiffle. Fireballs. We all need fireballs. The number one gift this Christmas, woofers, probably. Maybe not. Okay, well, I shall see you on the Saturday or whatever day it is for you guys. Weekend. Until then, take care and have fun.